Okay, so right now let's start on the Tailwind part. So let's start by copying our npm. I already here did it for my project. You can see it here, but you want to install it on your terminal. So if you were following along, what you will do is cancel your front end. You will just copy and paste it. And then when you run it, it would install all that. So once that gets all installed, we can just follow the next instructions, which is you initialize your Tailwind project with npx, which will create a Tailwind config and a PostgreSQL config. And then you just want to keep following the instructions, which demonstrates these are the settings. And since we have a TypeScript project, we just want to copy in that and open up our Tailwind config. And as you saw, I already pasted it here for myself. And that's it. Now all we have to do is go to our app component and just import it. So all I'm gonna do is close this, and then inside here I'm gonna import Tailwind. From distribute, I'm gonna Tailwind CSS. And oh, let me run this. So we go back here, let's see, cannot resolve. Oh, okay. So all we're just gonna do is let's just go to our node modules and then Tailwind and then go to distribution folder, and then we're gonna get their minified files. Okay, once that's done, okay, and for the template that we're gonna start off our blog is this one. It's pretty great to start with. It's already mobile responsive, and this is the GitHub, which you get it from here, tailwindbox.com. And so as you can see here, these are the different modes. And if you click on here, it'll just take you to the repo, which we're just going to extract the nav and footer from here. So let's start by this part. Since this is original HTML CSS, we're going to have to do quite an editing just to make it formatted for TSX and React. So let's just copy everything, and this does have some Java jQuery, which we're not going to use. So let's copy everything from the footer up until I think the nav. Okay, let's just put this here. Okay, so let's go to our index. And for now, this is coming out our query. We'll need that later. We can get rid of this. And what we're going to do right now, yeah, so you're going to get all 210 problems. It's going to go real quickly. You're going to need this. So you can just delete it for now. And let me delete our nav. The first thing I want to do is delete these comments. Now the second thing I want to do is, if I scroll all the way down, it's a mixture of our SVGs and some tags. So let's see. The easiest way would be to go to just one of these and let's see. Actually, I think our terminal gives us better output. Okay. Let's see, where is... Oh, okay, so here we need to get rid of these. And next is telling us that, okay, these namespaces. Okay, what else? Okay, and the final, the easiest one is just these class changes. So let's do a search, and then what we're going to do is search for name, and then we're going to search all of that. Path class name. Okay, and Let me just grab this image location. And then go to my image, we're here, and we're just gonna place this here. Let me see, what are we missing? Okay, and now these, yes, so we're gonna have to just change. What's missing? Are we missing anything else? And whoa, this got really shrunk. Okay, and that's good looking great. That's looking great. And the last thing we need to do is just come here and we need to grab our gradient, and we're gonna go to our app, and this is gonna apply a gradient for all our pages. So we're gonna make this a global JSX. Okay, and okay, and my index, my bot, and my div right here is where we want to put this code. Great, great, great. So you should be having this, and great. So now what we're gonna do is just use, for example, our blog. We're just gonna use the query code to bring in a card component. So before we move on that, let's actually separate our nav right here, and then our footer that we have all the way at the bottom. So one thing I already did while I wasn't recording is that I went to go ahead and made two empty footer, nav, and card component. So these are just we'll go with it. So yeah, we just create an empty card, an empty footer, and an empty nav. And so all we're gonna do is just separate these into its respective. So we're gonna go into nav, and then let's call this. Let's just place this right here. And then let's grab our footer. Paste your footer in here. And then for our card, what we're gonna use is one of these three. So we're just gonna delete two of these, and we're gonna use the remaining HTML and place it inside the card. Okay, and while we're doing that, let's come over here and let's bring our nav component. And then we're gonna put our footer component. And the auto imports it. And then here, let's see. So this right here is one of the three buttons that we want to keep. So what we're just gonna do is just cut this guy here, and then we just delete the rest of the siblings. Let me see which should be. And then if we do this, cool. Now all we want to do is just map our query. So we could just come over here. We're gonna place that right there, and then from here is where we're just gonna grab our query code that we commented out, bring it over here. Where is it? Let me see where that is. Line 379. Okay, I could just go here. 379. Okay, so right here is where I want to do my loop for my card. So all we have to do is just paste our query right here. It's gonna look through the blog articles, and then our return, all we want to do is just paste in our card component. It's gonna have a key, which is gonna be blog.slug, and then this has we're gonna create a property, an argument of article, and then from that article we're gonna get the title, slug, and the article base. And we're gonna get this from article. Okay. And then here where it says we're just missing one more argument, which is article, and then we're gonna pass it blog. Now in the meantime, you're just gonna get the 3 same cards. But now if we just go to our cards and let's remove this, and then here we could just put title. And then here we're gonna put article base.content, and we're gonna have our objects rendered out here. So let's do for our content, let's do a slice of 0 to 200, and then we're gonna just add a string to the end, so that way it gives you this effect. And then let's get rid of this p tag, and instead what I want to do is include an image tag, which is gonna be string template, which I'm gonna go to my backend localhost 1337, and then in here is where I'm gonna put article base dot images first. Actually, let's go to our second image, which tends to be a little wider, and then we have our cards of blogs. Okay, in the next step, let's start working on the article linking, so how it routes to the actual content so we can see a full page article. And we're also going to start changing the front page with some of illustrations. So we just finished bringing in this theme, and we cut out our nav and our footer. So now let's start working on the routing. So when we click on here, it'll take us to our category, portfolio, or blog, and after that is when we can start working on designs. So let's just rough out our prototype. So let's go back to our code, and when we open, we have our front end and our back end running, and we have our Postgres, making sure everything's running. So we're gonna go to our front end, and what we're gonna need is a couple of stuff. So we're gonna open our Apollo components and pages. So I'm just gonna quickly rough out what we're gonna create. So we're gonna create a single query component, and after we're gonna create a article component, which is gonna be our wrapper, because then we're gonna put that wrapper inside our pages, where we're gonna create a new dictionary, which is gonna be a dynamic for dynamic routing. So we're gonna put that inside brackets. We're gonna create a category, which then has our slug inside brackets .tsx, and that way Next knows that this is a dynamic file. So let's get started. We could just quickly create the stuff, and then we can work on the code. So inside our Apollo directory, we're going to create single query tsx. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Let me make sure I spell that right. And then after, we're gonna inside our components, let's create our article component. So article component.tsx. And inside our pages, let's create a new folder. Now, since this is going to be dynamic, we're going to create inside brackets, and we're going to call this category. And inside the category folder, we're going to create a new file. And again, dynamic, so slug.tsx. Perfect. So let's get work on a single query. It's going to be very similar to our article query. So we can just grab this as a template, and we're going to bring it in over here. And so from here, what we're really just going to differentiate is the where slug that we're going to bring in through here. So since this is going to be a single, we're just going to do here, rename this to single article query, which is going to take in a parameter, an argument, which is going to be a slug, and there's going to be of string, followed by that, where we're going to call our article query, and then here is going to create is where we're going to pass in our where slug in, where's we're going to pass the slug. Perfect. And then we're going to pass in our title, article base, and everything. And we just want to add one more. We're going to add our published underscore at. So this just gives us the date, and I also want to add that to our single array of articles. Perfect. So that's one part. What is this problem here? Okay, it's because it's empty, so leave it alone. All right, so now let's work on our article component, which our article component is just going to be let's call this const article. That is going to take a parameter. It's going to take in an article, and then we're going to do export default article. And now this is going to return our UI that we're going to have for our portfolio and blog article. So this is going to be quite a bit. Not really. It's going to we're just going to actively just like bump it out. So you can either fast forward, or you can just hear me explain the code. So one thing we're going to need is our link, import link from next link. So this is for our back button. And then we're also going to need import head from next head. And we're going to need import. Oh, one thing we are going to need, I forgot to mention, so let's just do it now, is, you can ignore these. Let's just create we're going to have to download an npm module package called React Markdown, which is going to render our Strapi content into HTML markup. So instead of Markdown with the, you get the hashtag or the pound and then, the markup language, you're just going to get HTML, P tags, and you can format it that way. So it's great. So we're just going to go here, and it's called React Markdown. And then from here, I'm just gonna, so it's called React Markdown. So we're just gonna do npm React Markdown markup. I think it's this one. It is this one. All right, so it's very simple. So we're just gonna go more over here, and then let's go to our front end. Let's npm install it. Once that's done, it should be right here. Once that's done, right here, we're just gonna import this, and then our content component is just gonna grab this. Okay, so I'm gonna come back over here. Now let this finish, and then here, so we're gonna do import React Markdown from, and this is going to be React Markdown. Okay, and then so inside our article is going to take in it's going to come in the article object, And then from here, we're gonna, before that, we're gonna need our, let's create a, actually, const category. And this is gonna be article.category. And from then after, we're gonna actually create our, I guess, just to make it easy for us, we're gonna reinitialize our article with a new article. So we're just gonna create, we just doing this, and then let's put this single article. And this is going to be of article, and then it's gonna be the category that we got, and then we're just gonna append to it articles. Now this, we want to get the first of the index, and then what we want to lastly bring is we're gonna create a new font, a new date, which is gonna be a new date, and then from there we're just gonna pass in our article.published at, and then we want a to local date string, and that's just gonna bring in a format of like 1/digit/digit. We're gonna get that. Okay, and I think that's all we need. So yeah, so let's creating our markdown. We're gonna create a section, and we're gonna add the class name of container, and then we're gonna add a max with full, and then we're gonna do a wolf with full, with full, and followed by a margin bottom or 10 between our footer. So let's make sure, perfect. And then, so in here, we're gonna create our head, and inside our head, we wanna add the title. So here's where you can add like your name. So you can put like fed B, and then we're just gonna put article.title. Perfect. And now let's work on our sections. So for the first part, what I wanna do is, since it's gonna look like this, let me bring in our finished piece. Okay, let me go to, all right, so we're gonna fix this, but since it's gonna basically, there we go, since it's gonna have double split, we're gonna work on this part, which is one container, and then it has our left, which is gonna be a width of 3/4, and then our right is gonna be an absolute with an index of 0. This is gonna be 1, so this image is always gonna be on the right, and the title is always gonna be big and on the left side. So yeah, let's get started on that. Okay, so from here, what we're gonna do is, yeah, let's just create a div, and then actually let me close this. And then from here, okay, I'm gonna do a flex width screen. So this is gonna be 100% view width, and then we're gonna justify it between, and then we're gonna add relative. So this is the parent, and then we're gonna add the height. The height is gonna be 3/4 for mobile, and then for our medium forward, we're gonna put a height of 75. And that is actually a custom one that I'm gonna just add it inside our Tailwind config. I think it's inside config or PostgreSQL. So okay, so we should get, what is this? All right. That's weird. Okay, so let's just so I have 3/4, and then I have MDH0. All right, cool. And then that's perfect. And now here we're just gonna add we're gonna add our class. Well, no, we're gonna do BG blue, and then from here we're gonna choose 600, and then we're gonna add Z-1, and then items center to align the center, and then we're gonna do a justify dash center, dot flex with a width full, and then at medium is where we're just gonna make the width at 112, and then we're gonna wrap it with some 10. Man, that sucks. I hate that. Let me see, without, no, yeah, that's weird. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy that. Let's just type it in. Space. Okay, perfect. Moving on, and then, so this is our big blue container that we have on the left. So in here, we're gonna put on our H1, and we're gonna place in our article tag, article title. And then our class name, the class we're gonna add is gonna be hidden at, so the way it's gonna be at, we only want this to be shown on larger, because when it's smaller, we wanna hide it, and we just wanna just show, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's start adding our H1 utility classes. So this is going to be a text of white, and then we're going to add a margin y-axis 20, and then for medium desktop we're going to add a width of 1/2 of it, and the text we want it to be fairly large, so it's going to be 4XL. And then for the medium text, we actually want it to be a little bit smaller, so we're gonna be, larger. So we want this to be text X8XL, and then a font bold. What is this? Oh, spacing. Okay, and that's it. And then for our image, right below it was gonna be a sibling. Now this is the one that's gonna be an absolute. So this is going to be an image tag, and then from here this is going to be hidden on smaller devices, and then on medium we're going to put it to flex, and then we're going to put in absolute. Let me see if I get any problems with that. All right. And then after absolute, I'm going to do a right of 0, so this is always stuck, it's going to be anchored to the right. And then for here I'm just going to add a placeholder for now, and I'm just going to do we're just gonna do placeholders. So I'm gonna do via.placeholder.com, and then I'm gonna do 720 by 765. Okay, that's perfect. And then, so right now we just created our hero. So now we're gonna go on to work our article container. So what we're gonna do is, this is gonna be let's just create a div and just start it with empty 20. Okay, and then what we're gonna add to that is we're gonna add some padding on the x-axis to squeeze it in. On larger, we wanna actually, I think, bring that to 0. I want px to be 0. And then I want to put this inside a container. The margin, I want to center it. And then I also want to add some loose leading to it, since it's going to be content after content. And then, so I'm going to create above that 2 buttons that's going to go back to the current page, which would be the category directory. So it would be either blog or portfolio, and then the second one would be the date. So it's just going to be a container, which is going to hold a link, and a p tag of date, which is what we created here. So let's just create our link. So we're gonna add text gray, and we're gonna put 500. We're gonna add flex to it, and then we're gonna do justify between, and then I'm gonna add some margin bar to the 10 to the bottom. And actually, I don't think I need this. Yeah, I don't think I need this. That's it. Okay, perfect. And then inside here is where we're gonna add our link, and inside this link is where we're gonna create our a tag. Okay. And then inside our A tag is where we're gonna put our back to, and then here we're gonna put category, and category is category. Okay, and so here is what I want to put back to category. All right, so yeah, let's add this part, remove this, let's add this here, and then here it's just gonna be / and then category. Okay, and then this A class, we're gonna add some styling to it, so let's put CLS, and then we're gonna put we're gonna add flex, and then we're gonna align it with items center, and then text to XL, and then we're gonna also want to capitalize that. All right, so that's the first part, and the next one we'll just add a p tag, and we'll put date in it. Okay, so that's this part. And now for the React is we're gonna bring in React Markdown. And then we're gonna pass in through the props children is we're gonna pass in our article.article base .content. And then this is gonna render out our content from Markdown into HTML. Great, and then we're gonna need to now create our pages structure. So yeah, so now moving on onto here. So this is gonna be our slug. So let's create this, and we're gonna call this article wrapper. And then we're gonna export it, export default article wrapper. Okay. And then we're gonna have to return this. So here is what we're gonna pass in our article component. So let's import that. We're gonna import article from components article. Okay. And so we're gonna do a query search, and then from that query search is where we're gonna pass it in. So we're also gonna need our query component. So import query from components, query component, and then we're gonna need our single Apollo one that we created earlier. So we're gonna import single query from, and then this is gonna be inside the Apollo. This is gonna be single query, and then yeah. So and we're gonna need our next router. So we're gonna import use router, and this is gonna be from just React. I mean, yeah, this is gonna be from the next router. Okay, and then we're just gonna need to initialize our router with use router, and so from there is where we can return our query component, and then the slug is gonna come in from our router query, and then we're gonna pass in just our slug, and then our query is gonna come from, we're gonna use our single query method that we created, and then we're gonna pass our router.query.category. And this is giving me an error. Yeah, let me see. I thought I added it to here. Okay, didn't. So this is gonna be of or string array. Okay, and then inside here, so right now this is gonna bring in the data, and then from here is what we have to decide to do with the data. So it's gonna bring so let's just put that, And then let's just wrap that here. And then from here, what we want to do with this is we want to remember inside our article component, we're extracting category because we added it. Is here's where we're going to add it. So we're just going to put data and category. And this is going to be router dot query dot category. And from here, we're going to return our article component. So our article component, let's add it here. And then our article, we're just going to pass in our data. Okay. So let's check it out if it works. So we should, let me see. Oh, one thing we want to do is go to our card. And yeah, so let's just work on making sure that the slugs are being used in here. So for this part, all we're going to have to do is import again our link component. And we're just going to wrap it. So this is, we're just going to switch this to, first let's import link from next link. And then, you know what we're also going to need? Our React Markdown. Import our React Markdown from React. Here we go. Import from React Markdown. Wait. Oh, I already did it. Okay, and so yeah, we're passing our article, and we're also going to need here is our publish date. Published at. There you go, thank you. And so what we're going to do is we're going to need to remove this A tag, and we don't really need a lot of stuff. We just need one single A tag. So what we're going to do is just, let's just, what's important is this A tag. And okay, so we're going to delete this part because we don't need this. The whole wrapper is going to lead us to the our individual pages. Okay, so yeah, so that's this part. I don't want that. And then I don't need two wrappers, so I just need to wrap this inside our Okay, so let's see what we're gonna do here. So let's just first bring in our link, and let's just wrap this inside our link. And then we're gonna need is, we're gonna bring this A tag, and we're just gonna bring this to the top and bring this to the bottom. Okay, and then, okay, so for the category, for the link, it's just gonna be a template string, and then we're just gonna put our category, and then we're just gonna put by slug. And then we're gonna get our category from our const category. And category is, that's funny. And we're gonna put article. And this is from, if you look at your object, it would say it. And we're gonna just replace from that string article with nothing. And then we just wanna two lower case string. So that's how we're getting our category. And then let me just save this. Okay, and let's just go back. Let's see how it looks like. Wow, no. Okay, so for our A tag, what we want to do is that this is going to be over here. And then this flex items, no underline hover thing, we're actually going to not need it. And then over here for the bottom one is where we're just going to add our flex one hidden shadow. And then we don't need this class, then we don't need this div. And that is it. So we just have our link parent, our A tag, and then we have one single div that's going to contain our images between our hero and then our content. So now let's check if it works. So if we click here, yeah, we see that it is going. If you look at the bottom left right here, you see it's taking us, and if we click here, cannot expected value of type JSON found under slug of slug type cannot represent the value slug. Oh, I'm missing to call it by variable because you got to use dollar sign, and I think that should voila it. Almost. We're saying cannot read property of 0 of undefined. Okay. Well, am I getting any data? I am getting data, so I'm getting blog articles, and it is returning that. It says cannot read property of 0. So inside our article component now. So let's move on to over here, and let's see what I have here. So I'm calling, actually, yeah, so these articles, the ones that I have here, it should be a single article. Should be using this one. Let me see. Okay, it's not coming in. So let's go into our slug category. There we go. All right. So yeah, just be on the lookout if that shit ever happens. Okay, and we have an invalid date, but everything else looks pretty great. We're just gonna add some styling, finish it with some styling. And this button should take us back to our blog, which this page currently doesn't exist. We still gotta create it. So let's go back here, and let's just go back to our date and see why it's not working. Again, this has to be a single article. Okay, and okay, so this was published on January 29th when I originally recorded this. And then let's move this on to adding some margin bottom to here. Okay, so let's go to our, which is our container. This is our container. Okay, and then let's add, let me see. Yeah, so let's add MB and 10. Let's see if that's enough. Perfect. I don't even know what am I doing. Okay, now let's go to our index again, and then let's try another one. Okay, let's add this one inside a container, or h1. I thought I added this inside a container, but nonetheless, when I want this to be the width to see 1, 2, 3 text one. I want this to be width full, and then I want this to be on large, and on mediums XL, and then I want the div container to be a medium of 8 thing, and then a padding, and we gotta add these. Let me quickly add some of these custom CS properties. I think, let me see. Theme, I want to extend, and then from here, extend is where we can add our custom CSS properties that we want to add, utilities, which is where we can add them. So in here, we're just gonna increase our height property. So here's where we can add it. So we're gonna add is 75, and now this is gonna be 75 view height, and then it's gonna be 60 and 60 view height. Oh, what did I do? Okay, and after height, what we're gonna do is z index. Same thing, and so we're gonna just add 1, 1. Okay, let's just duplicate that a couple times, and we're just gonna do 2, 3. And then I just wanna duplicate this, and this one we're just gonna wrap it like that. I think that's it. I wanna just include for now. We go back to our page. And that should cover it now. And if, let me just grab this little piece, and I just want to just start better from here. Let me see. Okay. Now all I want to do is just center this. So let me see. So this is right here. Oh, it's justify center. I unspelled it wrong. Where is just? Okay. Great. Now let's work on our pages that we can hold our portfolios and our blogs. So we're just going to create a new file, and we're going to call this blog. Yeah, because you have one blog. Yeah, so it's going to be singular. TXX, whoa. TXX. And then we're going to delete this. And then we're going to need one more page for our portfolio. TSX. Man. Butterfingers. Okay, so our blog, let's just quickly create it. So let's just do const blog. And then let's just export default. And then we're gonna import our query from component, query component, and then we're gonna import our article from our Apollo queries. So Apollo, and then we're gonna put our article. Query, and then I think that's it. Oh, and our card. Yeah, because we're gonna use our card. So import card from component card. Okay. And then we're gonna return is, so let's just stylize it. Let's just put H1, and then we're gonna, so let me see if I can bring in the final piece. I think I have it here. To localhost 4K. Okay, yeah. So I go to block portfolio. We're gonna have the same hero as our lining page, and then we're just gonna block it out just like this. So yeah, very simple. And the cards, we're gonna just stylize them like this. So let's finish working on our respective category pages, and then we'll move on to cards. All right, so let's work on our home page. So we're gonna just stylize a lot different. So to begin this part, we're just gonna move on to our code. And what we wanna do is let's just click on this. We don't need none of these open. And just go to our index. Okay. So one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put all of these SVGs into one single file. And then anytime I need to reference them, I'm just gonna reference them from that single file. So I'm just gonna create inside here. You can add it here, but for better structure, I'm just gonna create a new directory, SVGs. Then I'm gonna call it SVGs TSX. And then here it's just gonna be multiple export default functions. You know, here I could put home hero, and then I'll return that SVG, you know, thingamajig tag. And so I'm gonna create one more, and here's where I'm gonna put our logo as well. So I'm gonna put export default const logo. That's weird. Okay. And yeah, let me just export default. Am I getting something wrong? Oh, it's not default. It's just export const. Don't know how to get Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna put in our SVGs there, and you can get these SVGs either from their respective source, and I got them from the main ones. I got them from Undraw, which its own template says it. So I got some of these, and all I did was change the color to blue, and then I just changed the default height and width that they each came, and again I added the Tailwind CSS utility files. And the final one for the logo, like you see from this guy, I got that from Icons Draw. I think it's what it's called, Icons. Let me see if I put just icons. Flat icon, and then I put a logo. So this guy right here. So shout out to the artist. And then inside here, I just changed the respective fill color with a utility class that changes between current color. So again, I'm not gonna, because it took me a while to change the settings, so I'm not gonna put the SVG settings. I'm just gonna paste the SVGs here, and then we're gonna work on that. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy the whole SVG file, and then I'm gonna just post it as a gist. So let me just get my SVGs. And these are all the illustrations that we're going to use. So this is our portfolio SVG, this is our blog hero, home hero, SVG 1 and 2, which goes inside our home. And so with these, I added these utility classes, and then I removed majority of their custom width and height. Okay, and so what I want to do is start deleting some of these from here. Okay, so let's go home. And our home, that's an image. So all I'm gonna do is inside this image, I'm just gonna go here. I'm gonna copy this class name. And then I'm just gonna, we're gonna need to actually import it. So let's go to our import from SVG, SVG, and inside that folder, what we're gonna get is our home hero, SVG, and then all we need to do is just that's it. And oh yeah, and then this is gonna have a custom property called CLS, which is gonna go for a height name, because this is our basic, let me see. Oh no, this is not the one I want. The one that I want is, where is it? Oh, it's not home hero SVG. Okay, let me see. Okay, so we're gonna add is one more export default or export const, and we're just gonna call this logo, and then I'm gonna just return this SVG. This is the logo, so let me change this to logo, and let me call this home hero SVG, home hero SVG. Now this is logo. Let me save that, and then home that has no, the logo is gonna have one. So let's check our UI, and then we have our perfect people here. One thing I'm gonna have to do is, okay, so we just added our SVG. Let's come back to it, and one thing I want to do is add a class of with full, but on medium it's gonna shrink, and we're just gonna put the Z to 50, and then I'm gonna remove these, the default width and height, and okay. Now for the background color, so that's how we have all our SVGs. We have them here in this single file. And then what I want to do is inside our app. Now you don't want to do this, but just for the sake of it, speed, I'm just gonna leave it here. But inside our, we just want to change these colors from red, And for that, we're just gonna put 3365 and then followed by D5. Yeah, that's good. And then our final one is just gonna be a 51 B for DA. It should be blue. Okay. And let's just change the little of this message. So let's go back to our index. Let's go to our hero. So you can say, you know, welcome. And then I think emojis. And let this put this to a span. And I'm here, I'm gonna put a text. I'm gonna put like 4XL. Yeah. Okay. And let's see how that looks. Great. And then here's where you can put your branding message. One-stop shop digital agency. And then here is where I'm gonna put some lorem 10. Great. I don't want a button for my design. Let's go back. That's looking great. Now we can bring in these illustrations. So once we bring in those illustrations, we're gonna start designing our card. We're gonna remove this, and then you can leave this. We're gonna start working on landing and our nav bar, which is also responsive. So as you see, right now it does nothing because we haven't added no default, because you saw the original template is jQuery. We're just gonna use state for that. So let's just bring in our designs. So I don't want to use these large SVGs. So I'm just gonna go out of here. I'm gonna delete this. And then from here, what I want to bring in is SVG. I think I should get like one autocomplete. Yes, completed. Okay, and then so that is this guy right here. And then for this guy, let's delete it. And SVG2. Okay, SVG, I should say 2. No? Ah, okay. So let's just add SVG2. Okay. Where did we add it? We added it here. Great. Perfect. And so let's move on to our card. So let's open up our card component. And yeah, so let's just do some great styling behind it. So what we're just gonna need to do is for this width full, we're gonna keep it at 1/3. The P6, we want this to shrink. For here, let me see. Okay, so here what we're gonna do is just do a transition. So when people hover over it, we get the shadow and no shadow by default. So yeah, so we're gonna get this rounded. We're gonna use rounded 2XL. We want to make it really round. And then we're gonna just rounded be nothing. We want to do whole rounded. And then overflow header flow is hidden. We want to do a hover is when I want to get the shadow of 2XL. And then we want to add a transition property of shadow. Okay, so I think here we go. That's how we get that. And then so we'll just add margin and padding. And then inside our title right here, we just want to add MY5. So it does it for both the bottom content and the top content. And that's it. Oh, and our image, let's just add where's our image? Okay. So don't forget this is going to be title. And then for our class, we're going to do, rounded 2XL. Okay. Starting to look good. And then we're going to remove this pricing section. Okay. And then this is the call to action. So this is the waves. And then great. Okay. So there we have our cards. Now let's work on our nav bar. And then we'll finish with our footer. Okay. Okay, so as the original design, the template was on, you start scrolling down, this becomes white with the colors change. And as well as when you have a mobile view, this would toggle between here and here. So let's get started. I think you can see this at Tailwind Kit. Tailwind components. Let me see if I put it here. Tailwind template, start a template here. So yeah, if you go here, you have this functionality. Okay, so to add it, let me see. Let's just, okay. So let's close all this, and then what I want to do is go to my nav component, and then I'm just gonna drop my little terminal a little bit lower, and here's where we're gonna bring our logo. Okay, so let's start by doing that. What I want to do is cancel out this. We won't need this at all, and then here we want to bring in our logo. Let me see, can I get it from, nope, damn it. Okay, so we're gonna import logo from, we're gonna get this from our SVGs, SVG. So, okay, and yeah, and so for this, we're gonna put a class height, and this is gonna be H8, and no, CLS, and inline. Okay, so I think now we go back here, we have our logo. Great. Let's put it 10. Yeah. Great. This is our mobile SVG burger. So I think right here it has it by default, yeah, on large, hidden, and block on small. And then we're gonna move here. So for our navbar, we're gonna create a component called active link, and you can actually get the template from NextJS. From NextJS, they have a link reference. I think here is where they give a active link. Let me see if we do a search. Okay, but we'll get the code from here. You can find the original code here. So what that's gonna do is, by default right now, this is just saying font bold for here, but instead it'll just listen to our router and get that from here. So let's start by creating a new component, and we're gonna add this called active link. TSX. So this is gonna just call active link, and this is gonna take in an href and children, and href, and let's export. Export default active link. Okay, and so active link component, what it's gonna need is gonna have to import the router. So import use router, and we're gonna put this from next router. Okay, so let's create an instance of that router, use router. So now this is coming in all our object data. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a variable class name CLS, which is what you saw. And what this is gonna do is, if our router is either in one of these, for example, if blog slash article example. Even though that blog slash article example, you're gonna look at the previous query, and if the previous query is either blog or portfolio, then we still want to toggle font bold for its parent container. So that way, you just know some design initialization that this is where the parent is at. Okay, so for that, let's just go to our here. And so by default, this is just set to active on the first one. So we're going to change that. And from here, we're going to say if our, let's make this into a string. And we're going to say if our router.query.category, make sure I spell that right, is the same as our href, or if our router.askPath is the same as our href. AskPath is going to give you the /blog/portfolio. It gives it to you as that string. So we're going into our this, and we're saying if this is true, then we want this to be the font bold. And then else, we just want to create this. So we want to say if hover, we want this to be text gray 800. And then again, if it's a hover, we also want to put text underline. And then hover, we want to do that's it. Yeah, we just want to do a gray, text gray of a gray underline. Okay. And then we're going to create one more function, and we're going to call that handle click. Handle click. And then we're just going to do e.preventDefault for the event. And then we're going to do router.push. And then we're just going to pass in the href. And then what we're going to return is an a tag. So this href is going to go to is href. And then the onClick, this is going to go to our handle click. And then for our class name is where we want to do a inline template string, and then we want to put this inline block. Then we want to do a padding on the y-axis of 2, padding on x-axis of 4, and we're going to put no underline. And then we want to pass in our class here. So this is going to be either font bold if the query is either the category, like the parent, or if the current path is equal to that slug, to that URL. So I think this looks good. And then inside here, we're gonna have to import our brand new component. So import active link from our component, active link. And then inside here, inside our L tags, all we're just gonna have to do is just wrap our A inside here. So it's as simple as just to make it easier, I'm just gonna call this, and then from here is where I'm gonna put our active link, and then this is gonna be an href, and then these are gonna be the respective blog, home, etc. So this is gonna be home, and then this is gonna be blog, this is gonna be portfolio, and then what I want to do is okay, I just want to grab these, and then I just want to copy these, and then I just need to bring that lowercase b p. Okay, built-in component for composite. You likely forgot your components in the nav. Check render of nav. Oh, or children right here. Yeah, so I want to pass this in right here, children. Let me see. Yeah, one thing, / right here. Now it will work. Man. Okay. So if we go to our home, it'll go, and then, so yeah, let's right now just create our blog pages, index, and portfolio. And so here, I'm just gonna say blog. Portfolio is pretty much gonna be the same. Okay, so if we go to blog, that's font bold, and portfolio is font bold. Okay, so we're gonna bring in our images for our respective categories. So, but before we start that, let's just bring in, just do our query using these. Okay, so we're gonna add a div. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna call this just container, and then I want this to be just put container for right now, and then I want to put my query, and then my query is gonna be article query, no, article query, and this is gonna take an alias, so this is gonna say portfolio, and then this is gonna take an object. So I'm going to call this data, and then from here I'm going to return so data dot portfolio articles dot map, and then so here we're going to put portfolio, and then from there is where we want to return our, so let's just say h1 portfolio title. Hell yes, I would like to go to Disney on Friday. Okay, and let me see. What am I getting here? Slug is missing. Oh, okay, by default. Yeah, we just got. And actually, yeah, so I'm just going to put is here is what I'm going to return is my card. And then what property am I missing inside my card? Yeah. Article. And then inside here is where we want to put in our portfolio, and then here is where we could put in our key, will be our portfolio.slug. So let me go to my portfolio. Am I getting anything rendered here? Okay, here we go. So okay, so we have that running. Now let's work on our actual portfolio card. So here, and all I want to copy really is this part, because this is a hero. I probably should put it into a component. So I'm gonna put here portfolio. Let's keep this. Okay, so let's change this to portfolio SVG. Now let me just format some of this. Now before this, let's go to our index. So after we have this relative, and that's the bottom wave that we have at the bottom. Yeah, that's right here. So we're gonna just add it to our portfolio, and we're gonna place this. I'm gonna place it right here. That is when we have our, yeah. Okay, and so we want our, this is gonna be a section. We can make this into a section as well. White border for border bottom, and px8. Let me see this border bottom. I don't really need a border bottom for my portfolio. Okay, and inside my container is where I can start working on the container query. Okay, so for this one, what we wanted to do is we want to do a container. We want to center it, and then we want to flex with flex wrap, and we want to add some padding to the top, and some, I want padding bottom 12. Okay, and yeah. Okay, and then what I want to do is, let me see. So let's add, I'm gonna break this into some pieces. So let's do one more container. And from here, all I want to do is really just copy this to here. Container, our white is just gonna be that, and we want to do a py of 8 for our top and bottom. And then this container div is gonna hold an h1, which is gonna have CLS. So this is gonna be a width of full, and then top, bottom 2. We're gonna make this pretty large, 5XL, and then we're gonna say font bold. We're gonna letting light, letting tight. And then text center, and then finally we want to do text gray of 8. 700 is cool. So we're going to say just, blog, article, blogs, and that's it. And then for the bottom, for the gradient, all we're going to do is, again, we're just going to copy some of this code. And that gradient code is coming from our title, this. So the H1, we're just gonna put our W with 4. So let's take a look how that looks. Okay, and now we want to do is just center these for our portfolio. Okay. So we have our H1s, we have our divs, and then let's just wrap this inside our query, or around our query. And great. Okay, so we have our blogs. So it's looking pretty good. Now let's just copy and paste. And it's pretty much for right now, it's gonna be much the same, except this is gonna be a blog hero SVG. I'm gonna say blog. Let me see, am I getting any other errors here? Blog, article, blog, blog. Okay, great. So if I go to blog now, I should pretty much get the same thing with its own hero. And then let's see, what are we getting here? Invalid blog article. Did you mean blog articles? This has to be blee. Yep. And then I think lowercase b. Again, that was my copy and paste issue. So let me just refresh the page, and then perfect. So we have our blogs rendering here, our portfolio rendering. Let me go into my portfolio and change this to portfolio. Portfolio blog home. Okay, great. Let's remove this last action from our nav. We don't need this button. see. Great, 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 great. We're getting our content. We're going back. And then here for fun. Now, just to add, not for fun. Let's just add this, wrap this around the link tag to go back home. So link href. We're gonna get that. And we're gonna put href home. Import link from next link. Now we just go to our home. All right, great, great, great. So let's see how everything's looking. Okay, so let's work on now the nav bar. So I'm gonna do that, and so I'm gonna just remove some of this. All right, so right now let's work on our query that toggles this open and close. So let me just, I don't need to look at right now the logo. What I do need is this block hidden. Okay, let's just change this to okay, so when you scroll down it turns white. Let's go to my app. And great, great, great. So what I'm going to do is inside here, we're going to use state and use effect. So we're going to use state. We're going to bring in use state and use effect from, I'm going to say React. Okay. And then inside here, we're going to use so we're going to have our scroll. So no, is top and set scroll, and we're going to use state, and it's going to be false, and then we're going to need one more for our, let me see, do we need one more? And then we need, yeah, okay, so this is for our, this is gonna control whether this toggles blue or white, and then our second one is gonna toggle between opening this or closing. Okay, so this one is gonna be mobile toggle, and this is gonna be handle mobile toggle. Okay, and for set to is top, we're by default it is gonna load on top. Okay, and then we're going to use our effect, use effect, which is kind of like component that update. And then we're just going to listen to our window, which we're going to add an event listener. We want to listen to the scroll event. And so then let's pass in a lambda. And then what we want to do is here is when we want to set scroll. And then we want to see is if window, the scroll y-axis, if it's less than 80 pixels, then that's going to return true, false, true, false. Great, and then that is it. And so right here we have a variable called isTop, which tells us, hey, this you're currently above a top or not. If once you're above 80 is where we control the color. Okay, so for that, I'm just going to add inside the class name. So I'm going to just, and then let me just remove these double quotes. So I'm going to keep this the text white, and then I'm going to add here, and then from here it's going to say if is top. If this top is true, then we want to put text white, and then else we want this to be a BG of white with a text of blue. Text blue 600, and then a shadow of 2XL. So this is going to be returning true or false. And let me see if that works now. Okay, so yeah, once we pass scroll of 80, it toggles to white. And let me see. Okay, so there's no toggle right now. So yeah, let's create actually now our toggle functionality. So let's move down to this button. And all we're gonna do is on click, we're gonna do lambda, and inside we're gonna set our set scroll. I think that's what I call it. Set scroll. No, here's where I'm going to say our handle mobile toggle. Yeah, I'm sorry. So handle mobile toggle, and then here we want to use the previous state of mobile toggle, and we want this now to be the opposite state. Okay, and now my class name. One thing we need to do is inside here there is an hidden function, in hidden keyword. Where is it? Right here, hidden. And so we just need to toggle this. So if mobile toggle is true, we're gonna use this, else we're not gonna use it. So it's just the same thing. So we're just gonna remove this, and then again what we're gonna do is I'm going to wrap all of these in a string template, and then I'm gonna come to my here, and then here's what I'm gonna put. No, not here. This does not go here. What am I doing? There we go. And then here, cool. And then here, let me just bring down this, my class name, and then from here is what I want to do, and open up a syntax, and I want to place my ternary statement. So if mobile toggle is true, then what I want to bring back is flex, else hidden. Okay, and I think that is it. So we have our thing working. Cool. And if we go our blog, let's go to our blog. This is also getting the font weight for the active link, our blog. So this is working great. Let me see. I think this is coming out great. Now our footer. Okay, so let's work now all on our footer. So let's go to footer component, and actually let's bring back, I just need to copy this snippet for our logo, because we're basically going to use the same logo at the top, at the bottom. So, and here I put a logo of, let me see, what did I put our logo at? I put our logo of CLS of 10. I'm going to put now of 20. Okay, so let's remove this. And yeah, we can just remove this. And inside here, we're just going to say our logo. And then we're gonna, and so this one is gonna be a H32. And then, yeah, I think that's it. Let me see. Okay, now I want to wrap this because this has a current color. So as you see here, I'm going to add it right here. So let me just do, I'm going to wrap this inside a, no, I'm actually going to call it this. And this is going to be text blue 600. Now this changes to the blue. Great. And that's it. And then for this part, yeah, we're just gonna, yeah, you can keep it however you want. And so for links, I'm gonna put downloads, or what did I put on here? Okay, so we put downloads and social. So yeah, so any business If you're an agency, you should probably have some free downloads, markups, templates. And then we don't need a legal. And then we do need a social. And we don't really need a company. And the last thing I want to do is, yeah, okay, I'll leave this here. Free pick background. Okay, so there we have our links, and let's just change the coloring for these to be from pink, let's say purple. Yeah, I kind of like that, purple and pink. Okay, and you know what? Let's add, for these, let's add pink, and then purple. And then what I want to do is font bold. Okay. So let's check it out. So this is coming out great. Our things are coming on hover. We have our title. We have our 2 sections where you can represent anything. We got a blog, so we got portfolio. We're cutting on this. And yeah. So this is coming out great. And again, so all this data is coming directly from our Strapi. So if we open up our localhost 137 admin, close this. So let's do a login again. And so if I come up to here and let's say go into our portfolio and work on this Strapi next blog. Okay, so let's say let's say change. What we can do is change this, and now let's add a title. And so you just say, Strapi SEO title. Save this. Now we come back here, refresh. We're gonna have a, oh, because I changed the name. Sorry guys. Yeah. So now we come back and we render it with the new page. We'll see at this. Wow, that was a horrible explanation. So yeah, we getting all these updates directly from our API GraphQL that we built. So Strapi makes it very simple just to create quick APIs, and then since it's headless, you can basically put it connected to any client-facing HTTP protocol device. So phone, Android, iOS apps, etc. So that's about it, folks. And I guess one thing I'm gonna probably do later is update it to change this to Heroku and use AWS for the image storage, because Heroku doesn't right now use its file system is always updating. It's not static, it's always dynamic. So basically it flushes out every, I think, 24 hours or 48 hours. And yeah, that's great, guys. If you're gonna want to use this, feel free to download it and make it your own. I'm gonna leave the GitHub page down in the description. Have fun with it, folks.